Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this Monday morning with Business Coach Malloy. And while I should sincerely thank all of you for joining in because there's so much happening in the world around us. Uh, Uncertainty continues, pressure on Indian businesses continues. I was just reading an article today morning that I live in Mumbai, and in the suburbs of Mumbai, there is a industrial area called as Dombivli. The factories out there are losing about 1,000 crores a month because of lack of availability of commercial gas. My clients who are in the plastic business, the machine sales have come down significantly because their end user, the customers who make the PVC pipes, they do not have the plastic pellets available. Four major states are in election mode completely. So combination of factors that have come in and making life slightly difficult for entrepreneurs in the first month of the year. So Q1 will be difficult for a lot of businesses. So you'll have to look at while you will have to look at cost management as a major aspect of your business in Q1. You certainly can't go overboard with expenses. On the other hand, you also have to prepare yourself for the future, and hence your communication to your audiences through what we call the marketing and branding aspect of your business cannot be something that you can afford to cut down upon. The good news is Donald Trump makes an announcement last evening that there could be an agreement as of today. The bad news is if this agreement doesn't come in, he's promised to uh, to go all out on Tuesday. So two critical days that we need to look out for. Agriculture products will have a toll because urea prices are going to go up. While we have, as a country, we have been extremely resilient in terms of managing the fuel crisis. We know our neighbors, their prices have gone up by 50, 60 rupees in one day. Our neighbors are running a cricket series, which they have disallowed uh, spectators to come into the stadium. So the matches are being conducted under empty stadiums just because they don't want fuel to be used by the spectators to come to the stadium. So a lot of things happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time we keep our chins up. Life is not easy. Quarter 1 will be difficult. But let's go back and say, okay, Quarter 1 is what it is, and most of it is uncontrollable. I do not control what is happening on the planet outside, on the world outside. In fact, India has no right to be pulled into this kind of situation, but so be it. There will be thousands of things which are uncontrollable. Let's look at the areas which we can control. And we continue with the marketing series where we are going to talk about something which is consistency of positioning communication. What is happening and what I'm seeing with my clients today is because of this complete focus on the external environment, we are probably losing our mind space, our mind width into focusing on things that I should be doing consistently. So let me start with asking you a very simple but very uncomfortable statement. Many businesses today are actually quite clear about what they do. They have a decent understanding who they serve, the problem they solve, and how they are different. But go out and ask the customers. The market does not seem to see them that way. The customers are still comparing them on price. Leads are still asking basic questions. The referrals are still vague. And the sales conversations are actually starting from zero. And the natural reaction is maybe we need better marketing, maybe we need better visibility, maybe we need a better push. But the reality is something else. And the reality is inconsistency. Now let's look at this from an outside in perspective and not an inside out perspective. Because a lot of organizations are always focusing on the inside out. Now, so today I'm going to ask you to think about your business as an outside in. Imagine yourself being your customer. If I am my customer, I come across my business in three different ways. I see the website, I speak to the salesperson, I hear about you from your client. Now tell me honestly, will I hear the same story? Or will I hear three different versions? Because in most businesses, what happens is this: the founder says one thing, the sales team says another thing, the marketing material says something else. And none of them are wrong. It is just that they are not aligned. And when the messages are not aligned, the market gets confused, and customers who are confused don't commit. So clarity is not enough because consistency is what is creating that perception. Clarity is internal. Consistency is external. You must be very clear in your head, but unless the clarity is repeated consistently across every touch point, the market will never form a strong perception. And marketing is not about what you say once, it is what you want to say, it is what you say repeatedly to your target market. Let me ask you another question. If I spoke to five different people who know your business, would they describe you in the same way, or would I get five different descriptions? Because strong brands sound the same no matter who speaks about them. Weak brands depend on who you ask. So the problem is not the messaging, the problem is not the message creation, the problem is not the clarity, the problem is not what you want from your business. The problem is discipline. And most businesses don't have they have a discipline problem. They change language frequently. They adapt messaging depending on the situation. They allow individuals to explain things in their own way. It feels flexible, but it weakens identity. Imagine a person who behaves differently with everyone, different tone, different personality, different style. Would you trust them easily? Probably not. And businesses are no different. Consistency builds familiarity, familiarity builds trust, trust builds preference. And here we are addressing the aspect of preference. Now let's bring this closer to reality. Inconsistency shows up in four places. First, your website. Many websites are written to impress, not to communicate. They use generic language, they try to say too many things, and they often reflect the one clear positioning you have defined. More importantly, the sales conversation. Salesperson explains the business differently. Some focus on price, some focus on features, some focus on relationships. The result is inconsistency. The third, your team communication. Inside the organization, people don't use a common language. So naturally, outside communication becomes fragmented. And fourth, your customer experience. You say one thing, but the experience feels different. And the customers believe what the experience and not what you say. So consistency is not repetition, it is reinforcement. Consistency does not mean to sound robotic, it means reinforcing the same core idea in different ways. The message remains the same, the expressions can vary. Your positioning statement is your anchor. Everything else should align with it. If your positioning says, we help X achieve Y by doing Z, remember the previous session. then your website should reflect that, your sales team should say that, your case study should prove that, your customer should experience that. That's where alignment is built. And that alignment builds that brand. The problem is businesses too often chase short-term results. They change messaging to suit one customer. They adjust positioning for one opportunity. They try to appeal to one wider audience. And slowly clarity weakens. How can you as an entrepreneur come in? Because consistency requires leadership. This cannot be delegated fully. Leadership must define what we stand for, what we describe ourselves, what we emphasize, and what we don't dilute, and then ensure it is practiced. It is practiced consistently, and as a leader, it is our job to ensure that this percolates down into the entire organization, and this should become non-compromisable. A simple exercise that I want you to do today after this session, do something very practical. Bring 10 people of your organization into your room and ask them, how would you describe your business? If the answers are different, you already have a starting point. So what happens when consistency improves? Something very powerful. Customers start recognizing you faster. Sales conversations start at a higher level. Referrals become clearer. Trust builds quicker. Because now what you have done through your consistent messaging across all platforms, across all sales communication, across everything that you're doing, is you've allowed the market to understand you better. And now they finally understand who you are and what you stand for. This is the biggest challenge that you will come across after you have built your communication tools. Consistency of communication across all levels of organization. So where do we go next? Now that your positioning is clear, your market is defined, the differentiation is articulated, and your communication is becoming consistent, the next question is, how do you build visibility around this communication? Not noise, not random activity, but meaningful visibility. So this is what we'll explore next. You need to go out and start creating the visibility. Everything else, once you have done, your visibility becomes the most important element. So as we close today, my final thoughts, you don't need to say more. You need to say the same thing clearly again and again until the market begins to say it for you. I remember the statement of Brad Sugars, and once he said that do your marketing so hard that people may come up to you and say that you're over-marketing. But ladies and gentlemen, over-marketing is always better than under-marketing. You never know who's looking out for you, when and where. So while we deal with this difficult quarter, and while you're looking at cost management as an area of business, don't ever look at reduction of your marketing expenses, marketing expenditure, and say, let me cut it down. That is non-compromising. That is not doable. Focus on the right thing, because marketing and communication is the right thing for you to take you across the entire target audience that you're looking for. Till next Monday, same place, same time. My name is Molloy Chakravarti. I'm signing out. Have a great week. Pray for Monday and Tuesday, and I shall see you on the other side. Till then, God bless all of us.